If you love ube and you love bread, then I've got the recipe for you. I'll be taking a normal pandesal recipe, which is like the signature bread of the Philippines, and tweaking it a little bit to include those ube flavors. I'm using my stand mixer for this recipe because the dough is pretty tacky and it's very purple, so I do not want to be using my hands. Ooh, and I just received my beautiful glass bowl from Amazon, so you guys can see the whole process from beginning to end. If you want your own KitchenAid mixer and the beautiful glass bowl that I just got, I'll include the 2 Amazon links in the description below. Once I got my hands on one of these, I used it almost every single day to make more breads and treats than we could handle. Let's get started. Use a dough hook attachment since we are making bread, and you're gonna need 3 cups of bread flour. You can use all-purpose flour, but I'm using bread flour to give it a chewier texture. Next, add 2 teaspoons of salt and 1/4 cup sugar. You can use any sugar you'd like, but I'm using coconut sugar because it gives it a slight coconut and caramel flavor. Now mix this whole thing up, mostly so that the salt can integrate throughout the flour and not kill the yeast on contact. Now you can add the yeast. Add 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, and then add 1/2 cup of powdered ube to the mix. I'm adding the ube powder in this mix so that we can give the pandesal a slightly thicker texture. You can find ube powder in Filipino stores, or you can get it online, and I'll include the link in the description below. Now mix, and you can totally use your dough hook so you don't get your hands messy. Next, have 1.5 cups of water warmed up to 110 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure your water is not too hot, otherwise this will kill your yeast. Start with 1 cup of water and slowly add it until the flour has been all picked up. Scrape the sides of the bowl to make sure all the flour has been incorporated. Oh, and I almost forgot, add 2 teaspoons of ube extract so that you can really amplify that ube flavor. Now at this point, you'd be thankful that you have a stand mixer because otherwise you'd have brand new purple hands. Mix this up for about a few minutes on low speed to encourage some gluten formation. Then you can add the butter. Add 1/2 stick of butter in stages so that it can fully incorporate into the dough. My dough did end up being a little too hydrated, so I added just a little bit of flour so that I can at least pick it up and roll it out later. Now it's kneading time. Put your KitchenAid mixer to speed 4, which is about a medium speed, and knead this dough for about 10 to 15 minutes. However, check your dough after about 8 minutes of continuous kneading to make sure that you don't over knead the dough, and check it about every few minutes after that. So how do you know that you are done kneading your dough? Well, it's called the window pane test, and what you do is you take the dough between your hands and you stretch it out to see if you can slightly see through the dough, kind of like a window pane. Just take the dough between your fingers and see if it'll stretch for a little bit before completely tearing apart. If it passes the window pane test, then it's ready to rise. Cover your dough with a convenient lid that comes with my awesome new glass bowl, and allow the dough to double in size, which takes about an hour. While that's rising, let's work on the breadcrumbs. Pandesal's signature look is having breadcrumbs that coat the outside of the rolls. I don't ever have breadcrumbs or old bread lying around in the house because I end up eating all of it. However, I do have Hawaiian cream crackers that I'll smash up in my mortar and pestle to use as the breadcrumbs instead. So it may be the signature look, but I have made pandesal before without the breadcrumbs, so if you don't have breadcrumbs or biscuits to smash, then don't stress out about this part. All right, now we'll set that aside for later. It's been an hour and the dough has definitely doubled in size. You can also check to see if your dough is ready if you poke it and it doesn't spring back. This is definitely ready. Sprinkle flour or breadcrumbs across your work surface and then roll out the dough into a log shape. Now cut the dough to about 16 to 18 rolls. Keep in mind that these guys are gonna rise again, so you will have slightly larger rolls than what they look like now. Now you can keep the dough in these shapes and then you can bake it as is, but my dough ended up being very hydrated, so my OCD kicked in. I smashed up more biscuits, rolled them into beautiful roll shapes, and then I coated the outside with more breadcrumbs. Lay out the rolls on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and cover it to keep the pandesal's moisture intact. I like to use unscented trash bags because they can fit the whole pan and they're reusable. Allow the dough to rise for about 30 minutes, and you'll know when the dough is ready when you poke it and it only springs back halfway. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you can bake the rolls for about 25 to 30 minutes. I feel like I have superpowers when bread comes out of the oven like this. They smell wonderful. Now, people say you gotta wait like 1 to 2 hours before tearing into the bread, but I think I can risk only waiting 5 minutes. Eat the ube pandesal just like you would with any other bread or roll. Make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, make tuna sandwiches, spam sandwiches, or my favorite, dip these guys in hot chocolate. Oh, they're so good. Don't knock it until you try it. How would you eat your pandesal? Let me know in the comments below because I would love some new ideas. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please subscribe for more recipes. Bye!